Welcome back to Craftsman David. Today we are at the threshold of my basement. Reason being, we are going to get some dogs, and during the day while we're at work, we'd like to capture the dogs in the basement. So I need to build a pet gate right here between this cement wall and this wooden stud. To do that, at my local home center I found this piece of mesh. This will allow the dogs to look through, and it's right about the perfect size to fit in here. I just need to build a wood frame for it and hinge it. Now typically in staircase situations like this, where you come to the bottom and you go that way, you're supposed to hinge it off the opposite side, so it would swing open like this to let you through. In this case, I don't really want to drill into this foundational wall to the house more than I have to, so I'd like to hinge it on this side and then have the gate swing 180 degrees all the way around. It seems like more work, but we don't plan to go through here while the dogs are down here. It's just while we're gone, so it'll only be like twice a day. So I'm keeping this pet gate frame very simple. 2x4s are really strong already. To hold this together, I'm just going to use heavy-duty pocket holes. Now I can clean up these round corners with a chisel just to square them off. Well, I made a slight mistake on the width of this gate. I forgot to account for the width of the hinge. It's about 5/8 of an inch, so I'm going to shave 5/16 off of each side, and I've set up the guide on my saw to do that. There we go, a little sanding smoothed it out. Now I'm ready to put something in the middle of this frame. So with the frame done, I got to get the mesh in there. And the way this works, this is going to sit down in the groove. I sized the groove so that it fits this way, but I have to cut the length off. So I've made a mark with a Sharpie where I need to cut the mesh, and I'm going to use a power shear to cut it. So the way this is going to work is first I'll be able to paint it, then after it's all painted, the mesh will sit down in this groove, and these pieces will act as clamps. I'll run a screw through these both down and to the side to hold the mesh in there. And the final thing, should have seen that coming. Get it all painted, I'm going to install the mesh. My regular staple gun isn't powerful enough to go through the aluminum, so I'm using a pneumatic crown stapler to hold it down. And just to show you those staples up close, put them right through the metal. A lot more powerful than a standard staple gun. They're short staples, only 3/8 of an inch, so they didn't come through this side. The nice thing about making this out of 2x4s is that it absorbs staples well and doesn't split. A hardwood might split. Now these strips go in to cover up the sharp edges. 3 screws should do it. I'm going to put them at an angle so that it clamps in both directions. Well, I'm going to save myself a little time by installing these hinges in the shop. I have my ruler set for the distance I want it away from the top. Notice this is the top of the gate. I have a hinge pin. That pin needs to face up, so this has got to be the top. Then I'll drill and screw this into place. So to hang this gate, I'm making things easy by having a spacer down there to support it, and I also have a helper that's supporting the gate for me. To latch this gate, I'm using one of these sliding bolt type latches. I'm going to have the bolts slide right into a hole I drill on the wall. So I've come over and I've used the bolt's position to make a mark on the wall of where I need to drill. And I'm going to drill that hole with this, a rotary hammer. It's only a 1/2 inch hole. It could be done with a hammer drill, but I've been looking for an excuse to play with this. As a final touch, I'm putting a magnet right here, so that when the door opens, it stays. And here's the finished pet gate. Do some tricks, girl. Good girl.